It is exactly 8:01. We want to head on over to the state capitol. This is a live look this morning from Austin. It's day 2 of the impeachment trial of Attorney General Ken Paxton in the Texas Senate. The history-making trial held opening statements on Tuesday afternoon. Then immediately thereafter, the prosecution called its first witness. KPRC2 investigative reporter Mario Diaz joins us live this morning from the state capitol. Mario, what was opening day like?
Good morning, Zach. I can tell you that the first day of this trial that many, of course, have been waiting for quite some time was eventful. In the first half of the day, you had this battle whether or not to dismiss motions. And this was telling because of the fact that you had some Republicans who many thought might have been on Team Paxton early on saying, you know what, we want to hear this evidence. We want to see this for ourselves and then make our decision. That part was a bit alarming. Not too much, but it was slightly alarming. But then after that, you also had the decision as to whether or not Ken Paxton, the Attorney General for the state of Texas, would actually have to take the stand behind me here at the state capitol and answer some of the most difficult questions of his life. Well, guess what? For Ken Paxton, a win on that front because it was announced that he would not be required to testify. You couldn't call him to the stand, so you're not even going to see Ken Paxton step up and say, I plead the fifth here. I'm not going to answer any questions. So that was the first half of the day. Then the second half opened up, and we had the opening arguments here. And this is where everybody was really looking with a lot of anticipation because of the 4 key attorneys that you have involved. On the prosecution side, you have Dick DeGuerin and you have Rusty Hardin, 2 heavyweights from Houston that everybody knows. On the other side, you have 2 additional heavyweights, and Dan Cogdell and Tony Busby representing the Attorney General. We expected fireworks, but we also knew that there might be a bit of a curveball thrown in here with the chair of the General Investigating Committee as well as the House managers. These are the people who actually brought this impeachment case from the House on that side of the building all the way over here to the Senate side. That man is Andrew Murr, and it was Andrew Murr, a representative out of West Texas, a rancher, an attorney by trade, who was the one who stood up first and took center stage. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Mr. Paxton argues that the articles do not allege impeachable conduct because they do not allege that he committed a crime. We do allege that he committed crimes. We have detailed that Mr. Paxton received favors, including home renovations and help in concealing and continuing an extramarital affair in exchange for the Office of Attorney General punishing Nate Paul's enemies. However, we don't have to show some type of quid pro quo to establish that his conduct should result in impeachment.
It was a very straight to the point opening argument made by Representative Murr. Keep in mind, the prosecution and the defense each had 60 minutes to make their opening statements. Representative Murr only took about 16 minutes and change. So he said, we are done with our opening statements. Suddenly from there, boom. Then comes in the other side. Tony Busby takes control of the podium there inside of the Senate chamber. And to him, it seemed as if it was familiar ground. He stepped right up and got right into it, along with his colleague, Dan Cogdell. This was what was intriguing about the opening statements. Once Tony Busby wrapped up, there was still plenty of time within that 1 hour to yield that time to his colleague, Dan Cogdell, which is exactly what he did. And that is where you saw true emotion during these opening statements. Take a listen to Cogdell.
We're going to impeach a sitting attorney general for giving the direction, find the truth. Not one person, not one piece of evidence will you hear where they say lie, where Ken Paxton told him to lie, cheat, steal, shade, do whatever it takes. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. And yet here we sit with 31 of you, with 15 of us and 15 or more of them. Here we sit when the allegation, when the allegation is it's correct, when the truth is, he said, go find the truth, for God's sakes. What do we do?
An emotional Dan Condell asking all of the senators in the room, what are we doing here? Again, you had two different presentations here, both sides claiming they're going to be right. Only one's going to be coming out on top here at the state capitol in the foreseeable future. I want to bring in Santosh Aravan. He's a former federal prosecutor. He joins us now. You're based here in Austin. Opening day statements, how did they strike you?
Very much two contrasting styles. From the House, very short. And it was almost like, we've investigated this, we know this is damning, but we're not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about it. We're going to let our witnesses do that work. Let's get to the trial. From the defense, a much more standard defense kind of opening statement. They blamed the media, blamed a lot of people, and a little bit of focus on the evidence, but also what promises are they going to be able to keep during this trial.
Was the defense, in your opinion, more bark than bite?
It was a lot of bark, and all defense opening statements are a lot of bark. But they did say very clearly, there are no evidence of burner phones, there are no evidence of secret emails. That's going to be tough to prove, but we'll see if they can do it.
And you heard them say, we got the receipts, and we're going to bring the receipts, and we're going to present this. If they don't bring the receipts, and they don't promise on presenting everything that they did promise in the opening statements, how does that look in the eyes of the senators, many of who are attorneys?
I think that's going to be problematic. They need to back up the promises that they made in opening statement through the evidence, through the trial presentation.
And Santosh, we've talked about this. There are 17 attorneys who are sitting in this jury box. These state senators are attorneys. This is unlike anything you normally see inside of a regular jury pool. This said, are the attorneys in that room seeing past all of this and just saying, let's just get right to the facts here?
I think a lot of these attorneys and the senators have made up their minds, but there are a few that are willing to look at the evidence, evaluate it, see about the credibility of the witnesses, and they're going to let that process play out. So no matter what the bark that was happening during the opening statements, they want to hear what the evidence and what the witnesses say.
We heard the evidence. We saw everyone inside of the Senate chamber with the exception of one person during the course of opening statements. That person was the Attorney General, Ken Paxton. He was not there. That strategy, the negatives and positives behind it.
It was actually remarkable. On the one hand, I think that the defense want to say, we're not bothered by this at all. Mr. Paxton has more important business to do. There's nothing to see here. That was part of their theme during their statement. But at the same time, for the prosecution, they can say, hey, this man believes he's above the law. He doesn't need to be here in the most important proceeding of his career. He doesn't even need to sit in and see that.
Santosh, I'm going to have you step right over here and stay with us. Bill Miller is going to come in here. Bill Miller joined us yesterday. Bill, good morning. He is a legend here in Austin. He has been here for decades. He understands that Capitol as a lobbyist, and you have relationships with many of these senators.
I do.
The fact that Ken Paxton was not in the room at all yesterday, the optics behind that, what are you hearing?
I haven't heard anything. I think that the focus were on the people who were speaking, not the people who were present. It was the presentations and the theater associated therewith that captured the focus of everyone. Who wasn't there was irrelevant.
But the point of conversation was about the man who wasn't there, who just happens to be the third most powerful individual in the state of Texas. And some might say the most powerful because he's the chief attorney and the top cop.
That's correct. All that is true. But if you looked at the witnesses who were being called were damning for Paxton. There's no reason for him to sit there and say, I'm talking about you, Attorney General. He's out of there. If they're going to talk about him, they're going to say, I'm talking about the guy that left the room. That's a different focus.
Does he have to? He doesn't have to come back. The question is, should he come back and sit in on this trial at some point? I'm going to start with you.
I think he needs to be there for some of the witnesses. You want to be able, as a defendant, you want to be able to look your accuser in the eye, and that could be a really powerful moment for the defense. So I think he needs to be there, at least for part of it.
I agree with that. He will not be absent for the entire proceeding. He will show up, but it will be selective opportunities that they choose to an advantage for themselves.
To impeach Paxton, you need 2/3 of the vote inside of the Senate. We're talking about 21 state senators. Are we battling for all 21 senators, or is this just a slice of the pie that they're going after, just a handful of guys?
Okay. The whole thing turns on 9 Republicans. If you get 9 Republicans to vote, he's out of office. It's all about 9 Republicans. It's not about anybody else.
And that's what makes this trial very unlike any other trial. You're focused on those 9 individuals, not a jury of your peers.
Today, day 2, they're going to be focusing more on the witnesses, the first full day of witnesses. We had Jeff Mateer, one of the whistleblowers in Paxton's office, on the stand yesterday. We saw him walking out of here through the state capitol yesterday afternoon. He had his head down. He didn't want to talk to any of us. We simply asked, will you be back tomorrow? I mean, he looked as if he had a lot of energy sucked out of him, and he was a person that didn't want to be there.
He looked like he'd been through the ringer. Of course, he had been, but he actually carried that weight on his shoulders yesterday when we saw him.
And what are you looking for out of day 2?
I'm looking to see how these evidentiary issues that have been bogging down the trial get resolved. I think the judge, Dan Patrick, needs to move this case along forward. And then what witnesses come next? To me, I think it's probably going to be another one of the whistleblowers, and see how the state, the impeachment managers are really presenting their case and starting to develop their thesis.
And these whistleblowers are not low-level employees. Okay, these are very seasoned veterans. How much substance does their experience, their roles, their past history bring to the case of the prosecution?
Well, you're talking about those 9 individuals that you need to convince, and they're showing their conservative credentials are impeccable for these whistleblowers. The reason that they turned on Paxton was because they believed something was wrong, and that's what the House managers, that's what the prosecution is trying to show.
Angela Paxton, the state senator's wife, she was in the room. I mean, we could talk for an hour here. There are so many angles to what's going on behind this historic building behind us. She was in the room. She was feverishly taking notes. Bill, she's a fighter just like her husband.
Absolutely. And if you want to see political theater, watch the trial. This is the epitome of political theater. It's playing out right before our eyes.
All right. Bill Miller, thank you for joining us. Santosh Irvin, we appreciate it as well. Bill, you'll be joining us later on this afternoon. This is The Bench, live from Austin. We will be here with proceedings from day 2 from the Senate impeachment trial of the Attorney General from Texas. If there are any developments, we, of course, will have them online here on Click 2 Houston and through the Plus. But coverage throughout the course of the day later on this evening. Trial Day 2 is set to get underway here in less than 1 hour. That's the latest here in Austin. Mario Diaz, KPRC2 Investigates. Zach, back to you.
Yeah, Mario, before I let you go, I know it was a long day for you yesterday. You did an amazing job covering this. Yeah. I do have one question for you. If he is found guilty, he obviously will be out of a job. But does this carry any other weight in the court of law? Could he face additional charges? What does this mean for him?
Well, let me ask the lawyer here. I kind of know the answer. The question is, if he's found guilty by the Senate, how does this impact the federal investigation, and does that carry more weight for the feds to act against the Attorney General?
The feds are obviously looking at this very, very closely. Will it have an impact? I think they have their own separate investigation. They're proceeding on that investigation at its own pace. And so I don't think it's going to have a massive impact, but they're obviously looking to see what's going to happen.
And to you, Bill, as someone who knows this building since 1985, how much energy focused on the FBI in this building right now and on this trial is there? And have you ever seen that much focus by the feds on this building?
Well, I have, actually, because this is not the first time transgressions have occurred. But the answer to your question is, up there, they're not focused on what outsiders are thinking. They're focused on what they're seeing and how they're going to vote and what it will mean to them when they do vote.
And Zach, I will tell you that if the Attorney General is found guilty and they want to remove him from office, what will take place immediately thereafter is that you will have a call to ensure that he is not able to serve in an elected position ever again in the state of Texas. That is routinely the case here, and they will make that vote happen, and they will call for the votes immediately after if the vote is to remove Ken Paxton from office.
All very interesting. We will be watching Mario Diaz live for us this morning from Austin, Texas. Mario, thank you.